Testing, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hey, Pretty Girl Club. I don't really expect anybody to be online right now. This is just a random stream. I just need to make sure that everything is set up on my channel. Can you guys hear me okay? Hold on, let me get my water and then just take my allergy medicine. Then we can talk our shit. It's so nice to have these spontaneous Pretty Girl Club meetings late at night. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? I feel like I'm echoing, but I'm not sure. This girl says, as usual, people obsessed over exoticals. Yeah, I find it very interesting how in the unambiguous community, I mean, they'll do anything except for decenter men. And remember how I said before, the exoticals are their standard of dating, and they tend to pedestalize both MLS men as well as non-black men. And I actually mentioned Klay Thompson by name. I said that they pedestalize men like Klay Thompson and Russell Wilson in terms of MLS men, and then of course they pedestalize whoever the exoticals date. By the way, I don't know in what world Meg the Stallion is dark skinned with broad features and 4C hair. I just want to put that out there as well. Meg the Stallion has always represented for the Creole community, which I always liked about Meg the Stallion. Miss Divine says they're going so hard on Megan the Stallion. Hey, EU, I'm listening to you while I write a paper for my college class. Yay! Congrats on being in college. I love seeing all the pretty girls who are educated. If you are somewhere around the age of 18 to 21 and you're listening to this, well, actually, if you're any age listening to this, I really hope you have the opportunity to go to college and get your education. That's a huge privilege. And the only people that tell you not to go to college are people who couldn't afford it themselves, or they're people who couldn't get the scholarships. So I think if you have that privilege, you know, the privilege of getting an education, that's an amazing thing to take advantage of. But yeah, oh, there is an echo. Wait, can you hear me now? I mean, there might be an echo in the background. Wait, hold on. Hello, hello. Let me know if the sound is okay. Nautical Honey says, yay, I finally caught a live stream. Yeah, I'm trying to do these streams randomly because my schedule, I feel like over the past 8 months or so, my schedule's been pretty sporadic. And so, yeah, I'm trying to like stream whenever I can. And I uploaded a video over the weekend. Oh, yeah, unambiguous women, of course, got pissed off about that video. But I mean, they're pissed off every single day. So, and it's like, if you're confused by the exotical space, you don't like the content, why would you watch this channel? It just doesn't make sense. But as far as the whole Klay Thompson thing, Klay is a hypergamous man. You know, I talked about this in my Decentering Men videos, you know, the ones that people think are so extreme. I talked about how men are hypergamous in one way or another. And Klay, apparently, he told the other woman that he was dating Meg Stallion for social media. Okay, so that's hypergamy. He was hypergamous in terms of status. He wanted her status and fame. I had never heard of Klay Thompson until he got with Megan Stallion. I still don't even know what Klay Thompson does. I have no idea what team he plays for. I think he plays either basketball or football. I have no idea. I don't know anything about Klay Thompson. Has he ever won a championship? Probably not. I've never heard of him. I don't know what position he plays. I don't know what team he plays on. Okay. I missed you guys too. You guys can hear me okay though, right? Because someone said there was a little echo, so I'm just making sure. Miss Divine says, I'm finishing up my GED and I'm planning on going to college for psychology. Yay, congratulations on finishing up your GED. That is definitely an accomplishment. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to graduate high school or to, go back and get their GED. So that's great. This person says, Exoticals United, you are super tripping. Okay, well, if you think I'm tripping, I'm not sure why you're here. So that person could just get off. Ace Boogie 2911. Your name sounds kind of familiar. I don't know. He played for the Golden State Warriors. Okay, so what's that? Like, what's the Golden State Warriors? Basketball, I think. So I've heard of the Lakers. I've heard of the Clippers. I don't know. I mean, you guys know I'm not a sports person, so. Exotical Honey says, I live in Japan, our hot girl Meg's favorite place. So I appreciate you staying up late for my time zone difference. Oh, wow. What time is it in Japan? That's awesome. The NBA. Okay, so he plays in the NBA. Well, yeah, like I said, a lot of men are hypergamous in one way or another. So, if they're not chasing after a sugar mama, chasing after her money, they're going to be hypergamous in terms of beauty or in terms of fame and status. I mean, I could even say the same thing about Russell Wilson, actually. Even with Russell Wilson, Sierra is more famous than him. So, for all of the unambiguous belugas putting men on pedestals or seeking to like the exoticals or to date the males articles, I just feel like that's extremely male centered. Also, um, I saw a video recently where somebody was talking about how decentering men, the only reason that you would decenter men is because you're unwanted by men. That's completely false. I believe it was Ashley Dalton that made that video recently. Some of the pretty girls put it in the Discord. Um, Felicia Dream says, I couldn't even believe Megan was cooking for them. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say too. I never thought that their relationship was real. So that's why I was surprised when people were announcing the breakup because I never thought it was real. I thought that it was a staged, you know how they do that like in the industry, they'll try to pair up the R&B girls with like the athletes. You got Coco Jones with that one guy, you got Normani with the zesty football player, and then you got Meg Thee Stallion with this guy. You got Glorilla with the other NBA guy. LMI is with this other athlete. So I thought that it was more so almost like a staged type of thing, or like, how they have those relationships in Hollywood, kind of like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. So that's what I thought it was. And I actually saw that video, Felicia Dreams. I saw that shorts video of Meg Thee Stallion cooking. And again, I thought it was staged just because of all the food that was there. I didn't think she cooked that food. I mean, celebrities have like an entire team and they have chefs and stuff. So I thought that she just had her team set up the food stuff and she just created her content. That's a part of being a celebrity. You have to create content daily. So I thought she was just making her content. I didn't think that she genuinely cooked all that food for him. Like she was sitting there slaving over a hot stove or something for Klay Thompson. That doesn't even go with her actual brand and what she talks about in her music. And the lover girl thing, that never really went along with the type of persona that Meg Thee Stallion portrayed in her music. So that's why I always thought it was staged from day one. But apparently, I don't know. Now people are going to say, I guess it wasn't staged and like she was being a lover girl or whatever. She was truly in love. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I doubt it. I'm not saying that she didn't like him. I'm just saying that those two things don't go together. All of her music, all of her lyrics, her entire personality, the types of men she dated before this, partisan and all those different types of guys, those guys are kind of opposite of Klay Thompson in terms of their temperament and their, like, I don't know, personalities. So that's why I always thought that it was just more of a publicity thing. I feel like I'm just messing up all my words tonight because it's kind of late. I'm kind of tired, but yeah, she says, I couldn't believe Megan was cooking for that guy. Please imagine being rich and beautiful and trying to audition to be a slave, aka a wife. Yeah, that's why I didn't believe it. That's why when I saw it, I thought it was just, just fake content or whatever. So that actually would line up with what Klay would have told the other one, which is, oh, this is just for social media, or it's kind of like a social media contract, almost like, you know how you get a brand deal and it's like, oh, we have to post 100 reels, or you have to, you have a long-term contract or whatever. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I really have no idea. But almost my bedtime says, hey, EU. Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Pretty in between says, hey, Pretty Girl Club. Hey, you guys. It's so shady and wrong. It is 12:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Oh my gosh, you're in the future. I'm listening to you while having lunch at a vegan cafe in Tokyo. See, look at the exoticals. We are international. But yeah, as far as the videos and content where they're like, oh, decentering men is extreme. Okay, they don't seem to know what the word centering or decentering means. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a definition. Well, I'm just going to pull it up on my computer. I'm so scared to share my screen on a live stream because I've doxed myself so many times on live streams. I don't want to accidentally dox my email or something. But centering, it means that you're mentally aligning somebody else, you're focusing on somebody else. You're using that person to manage your emotions. So the fact I talk about decentering men and women think that's extreme, that's got to be one of the most idiotic talking points I've ever heard. And I've talked about this a lot, how the decentering men content creators, we kind of threaten the women who make this hypergamy, or I guess you could call it level up. I wouldn't even call it hypergamy. It's more so like trad wife, level up, how to get a man content. The decentering men creators directly oppose that type of content. So that's why the main people who speak against decentering men, they're the women who are selling courses on how to get a man, how to do a white man, how to look sexy so you can get a man, how to buy a new wig so you can get a man, how to shop at Zara so you can get a man. So if you take the man out of the equation, those women have no more business. They have no more livelihood. So that's the real reason they're coming for decentering men. So that's why I have a problem, because it's like, hey, I talk about decentering men, not because I hate all men. I think people, they conflate decentering men with devalue men. So the whole point of decentering men content was not supposed to be about just devaluing men as a whole. And that's why you still see decentering men creators who are in relationships or they have husbands or whatever. It's because decentering men doesn't have to mean that you just hate them all. The whole point of the content is to help women get out of this codependency. It's to help women stop being pick-me's. It's to help them stop settling for dusties. It's to help women to create stronger boundaries for themselves. So it's like, okay, which one has actually helped your life? So in the case of Ashley Dalton's video, I know her video wasn't directed towards me, but I'm just going to use it as an example of people misconstruing what decentering men means. Like, okay, if we look at the decentering men sector on YouTube and then we look over at Ashley Dalton's sector on YouTube, which women do you think have had more life-changing success? The women who purchased new lace fronts, or they went and bought a new outfit at Zara so they could go sit in a Starbucks and attract white men, or the women who completely decentered men and they got out of their abusive relationships. They stopped pedestalizing random MLS celebrities like Klay Thompson. Which ones do you think have the better results? And by the way, this is why I always say to never pedestalize content creators. You'd never want to pedestalize celebrities either. My worst nightmare would be for you guys to pedestalize me. Please do not blindly follow anything I say. Always do your own research. Also, we're adults here. We have our own intuition. And I think that's the problem sometimes with the dating coaches. They treat grown women as if those women don't have any intuition. It's almost this mindset of, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to get a man. You're not leveled up enough, and I am. And so now you have to pay $400 for a phone call with, and then you'll finally know how to get a man. I mean, come on. It's laughable. I'm so happy to see all the pretty girls in here. Ernestine Wilson says, hello, my exotical sisters. Yeah, I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I only saw a couple minutes of it because you guys were sharing it in the Discord. By the way, be sure to join the the Patreon, because that's where you'll get Discord access. Same thing with the members page. If you join that, you will get Discord access as well. But yeah, I just think that's laughable. And I think that Ashley Dalton made that mistake where, she's arguing with something that I never said. She's arguing with something that the Decentering Men creators have never said. None of the Decentering creators ever say, "Oh, you're not allowed to date. You're not allowed to get married." And it's like, okay, and even if they did, are they your mother? Like, is your audience that slow to where they're just following random YouTubers online? Like, is your audience that codependent? I mean, honestly, they probably are. But yeah, a lot of creators, when they can't argue with your talking points, they will try to create a fake talking point. They'll create a fake quote, and then they'll start arguing with something you never said. Like, oh, you're not allowed to get married. They said you're not allowed to be in relationships, or you're not allowed to get married, or you're not allowed to talk to men. None of the creators ever said that. All of the Decentering Men creators, all they do is they either tell their personal stories, they use anecdotal evidence. That's the same thing I'm doing. Just using anecdotal evidence. We're speaking based on observation, just like how Ashley Dalton is, right? She's observing and saying, oh, well, your wig isn't expensive enough, so you need to buy a more expensive wig, or you need to shop at Zara. So it's like in the same way that she is observing people in society and result with dating, we're doing the same thing. The only difference is that, we have different conclusions and we have different solutions. So the solution over here is to stop centering your self-esteem around a man. Stop spending all your free time watching how to get a man content or why don't I have a man content? Because that's really what a lot of that is. If you go on to those channels, like I think Ashley Dalton's a great example of this. A lot of the undertone of the women who call in is, why can't I get a man? That's literally what they say a lot of times. They'll be like, why can't I get a man? Or why won't this man commit to me? Okay, so it's why can't I get a man content. All of that content does is perpetuate the concept of men being the prize. Exactly. It's almost this concept of you need to audition for a man. So the outfit you're wearing, you need to go to Zara and put on this costume so you can attract the white man. You need to go put on this costume, go put on an expensive lace front, go try to pretend to look like old money so you can attract old money. Okay, so it's auditioning. You're trying to teach them how to assimilate into old money culture. You're trying to teach them how to assimilate into WASP culture. By the way, I'm pretty sure that the Exoticals would actually be much better at speaking on that anyway. So it's kind of like they're trying to use fashion as the doorway to multiculturalism. They're trying to use fashion as the doorway into dating a white man. And I don't know, that's just different than like what we talk about over here. Like when I talk about fashion on this channel, like in the Patreon and stuff, my fashion content is more so about the psychology behind the different colors and, how the colors affect how you're perceived and how that affects you in a job interview. Or, it's kind of, it's more like practical, I guess. And I just feel like a lot of the why can't I get a man content is more theoretical, because if it really worked, if all these women's content really worked, then nobody would be single. The women would stop calling in. Nobody would call in anymore, right? So they would no longer have a business. So it's almost as if women are profiting off of other women's like loneliness, I guess. It's almost like they're kind of profiting off of desperation. And the Decentering Men content is supposed to help you to not be desperate in the first place. So even if that means I can never create a $400 course, I don't care. I'd rather have women like not be desperate. I'd rather have the Exoticals not be desperate. I don't care what other groups of women are doing. They can be as desperate as they want, but I don't want the Exoticals. I don't want our collective image to be ruined by, promoting any form of desperation. So, I guess what the unambiguous women are doing, that's not really my fight. Almost My Bedtime says, I had to go in the comments and properly define the term because it annoyed me. Yeah, they're making it mean something it doesn't. Well, and I think that a lot of women who have spent their time watching Black YouTube, they don't understand nuance. They don't understand that two things can be true at the same time. There could be a guy that you like, but then there could also be a whole bunch of Dusties and majority of men being misogynist. Why can't two things be true? Why does it have to be, oh no, this one content creator is 100% right, and then Exoticals United is 100% wrong? No, I can't be wrong about everything. That is statistically impossible. We can't just be wrong about everything, because if I was truly wrong about everything, I would have 0 views, 0 subscribers, 0 Patreon people. Princess Jasmine says, speaking of pedestalizing, what do you think of MJ Gray being a hardcore misandrist, then popping out with a rich husband? She completely grifted her audience. So I never heard of her till a couple days ago. I have never seen any of her videos, but yeah, I don't really know what her content was, but I think that's why it would be important for you guys to make sure you're not pedestalizing content creators. Also, I'm kind of curious, like, did she tell her audience that she was in a relationship? Because when I'm talking about the Decentering Men creators, I'm talking about more of the black or black adjacent creators. I'm not really familiar with any of the other. I mean, I know who Melanie Hamlet is, but she's the only one I can think of that I know, or like YV Edit. Those are the only ones I know of who are not like black. So yeah, I've never seen MG Gray, but all the other creators that I've seen, they have been very honest about their relationship status. And I also try to be very honest too. If I'm in a relationship or if I'm dating someone, I will tell you guys in the Patreon, and I'll tell you guys even if I argue. Like when I was with my ex-boyfriend, I would tell you guys, hey, we argued about this, or like I would spill the tea so that I can make sure that you're not placing my personal relationship status on a pedestal either. Um, but yeah, I don't know why they seem to think that decentering men is a monolith. They think that in order to decenter men, the only way to do it is by going lesbian, or I don't know, I guess being asexual or celibate for the rest of your life. And I think that those are some solutions. That's one way to do it. That's those are two different ways to do it, but that's not the only way to do it. I think that there are so many different ways that women can be on a decentering men journey. So, for example, it could be divorcing the guy you're with. Notice how when Aloho decentered her husband, she divorced him. You had black women commenting how brave she was. They're like, oh, that's so brave. Oh, that's courageous. Oh, you're putting yourself first. Oh, you're putting your child first. Now your child won't have to suffer. But then when I call it what it is, which is decentering men, that's literally a form of her decentering, because she literally left the guy. But then when I say it, oh my God, you're so extreme. Oh, what's wrong with you? Yes, Jasmine, I heard of that. It was crazy, but I feel though her talking points were more extreme. Yeah, I've never I never heard of her till the other day, and I hadn't seen her content or anything. MJ Gray is being dragged for calling marriage slavery and guiding her cult following to not date and marry. Okay, so she's saying that not dating at all or not marrying at all is a solution. Some of MJ's naive fan base turned down proposals because of her. Okay, well, yeah, those people that turn down proposals because of a random YouTuber, that's kind of like not smart just in general. Well, I'm just saying, like, following a random YouTuber and making major life decisions based on a stranger, that sounds very unhinged. I will say, for the women who choose to not date at all or they choose to not marry, that's another form of decentering. It's not the only solution. It's not the only way to decenter men, but I don't have a problem with that either. Women who choose to stay single or they never marry. She auditions a lot of dusty men. Wait, who? Who auditions a lot of dusty men? Oh no, I didn't get a notification. Yeah, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we always talk a lot of shit on the live streams, and I love like interacting with the Pretty Girl Club. It sounds so draining auditioning for a man. I focus my energy on my bag. Yeah, exactly. And decentering men is about no longer auditioning. So for example, if a guy is interested in you and he wants to date you, you don't have to go and purchase $1,000 wig just because you have a date on Friday. That's fucking unhinged. I have never in my life purchased a new outfit so I go on a date. I've never done that. I've never done that. Every piece of fashion I own, all my clothing that I purchased is clothing that I wanted, like, because I wanted it. I've never said to myself, oh my God, I matched with the guy on a dating app. Oh, I matched with this white man. Okay, now I got to go to Zara. Now I need to spend $150. Now I have to go schedule a hair appointment. Now I've got to rip out my edges and have alopecia so I can lay down my lace. I've never done that. That's why I said it's like it almost puts more anxiety on the women. That's why I call that a form of male-centeredness. Like one of my ways of decentering men in terms of my aesthetic is, bitch, I'm going to look how I want to look. So if I was already planning on wearing a pink outfit that day, or, and some guy's interested in me, I'm not going to suddenly be like, oh my God, now I got to go home and change. Oh, now I have to go and make sure my makeup is all perfect. Women who do that are women who have desirability anxiety. That's all that is. All those women who are calling in to shows like Ashley Dalton, or, I don't know any of the other ones. She's the only one that I am familiar with. So that's why I keep using her as an example. I don't think she like has beef with me personally or anything, but she's the only example I can think of. The only reason those women call in to that type of channel is because those women have desirability anxiety. They're constantly spiraling. Am I pretty enough? Oh my God, my nail polish is chipped. If a man dumps you because your nail polish is chipped, he never liked you. If a man dumps you because your lace front is not expensive enough, he never liked you, ma'am. And then they're like, oh, you're decentering men because men decentered you, or men don't like you. First of all, I don't have to prove my attractiveness to random people on the internet. I think that's actually a laughable talking point. Oh, you're decentering men because you guys are just ugly. Ma'am, our name is literally the Pretty Girl Club. Also, you can't relate because over here in the Pretty Girl Club, notice how all the decentering men creators are pretty privileged, by the way. All the decentering men creators I've named, name one decentering men creator who's hideously ugly. None of them are ugly. They're all pretty, because when you're pretty, you have the option to decenter men. You know why? Because when you're a pretty girl, you get flooded with male attention. We get so much male attention that we don't actually want it. We don't need that much male attention. We don't want to be bothered and catcalled at the gas station and at the mall and at school and at work and by family friends and everywhere we go. And we're in college, we're in high school. Somebody's always chasing after us. Married men chasing after it. And we don't want all of that. We don't need that, because we have actually more of an abundance mindset. We feel like not only are men abundant, not only is male attention abundant, but guess what? All of our happiness, all of our sources of happiness in life are also abundant. Oh, I see that it's saying somebody became a member. Yay. Send red super chats. I think it says she became a member. It's telling on StreamYard. So yay. Welcome to the Pretty Girl Club. But yeah, I think that, saying that if you decenter men, you're ugly. That's, I mean, that's literally laughable. That's laughable. Princess Jasmine says, no, MJ insulted men and called marriage slavery. She vowed to never get married. Oh, okay. Wow. There is a compilation footage of her hypocrisy. Oh, that sucks. I hope that she addressed it. I hope that she, once she got in a relationship, I hope she told her subscribers, or at least the people on her member page, if she has one, I hope she told them, hey guys, just so you know, I did meet someone, I'm in a relationship. If she didn't, I would say that's more so like being irresponsible as a creator. I wouldn't personally do that to you guys. Indigenous Exoto says, hey, how late am I? I've been streaming for about 28 minutes. Hi, I'm new here. Love your channel so much. Yay! I was sad for Megan because Klay is a stunning biracial exotical. Oh, I'm not sad for her because he's going to be somebody else's problem. I never put any type of man on a pedestal on this channel, and that includes MLS men. And that's part of why a lot of MLS male YouTubers don't like my channel, or they don't support my channel by name. It's because it's a decentering men channel. They don't like that I don't promote, oh, you should get them, they're the best option. I don't say that about anybody, because I just don't believe in putting random races of men on a pedestal. I don't believe in putting men on a pedestal based on their skin tone or their race or whatever. It just doesn't make logical sense. I don't think any group of men is perfect. And I try not to promote hierarchy thinking on this channel. So I think male-centeredness is actually a form of hierarchy thinking, because they're basically saying if you're in a relationship, you're higher up on the hierarchy. And then if you're not in a relationship, you're at the bottom. And even on Ashley Dalton's video, she's like, everybody wants a relationship. Oh my God, that was I couldn't help but laugh when she said that. That was hilarious. She's like, everybody wants a relationship. No, actually, there are millions of people who are single by choice, and they actually enjoy being single. So sorry, can't relate. Just because you always want a relationship, or maybe your audience always wants a relationship 24/7, no matter what, they can't be alone. Okay, that's codependency. Okay, so everybody's not codependent. Some people know how to live on their own. They know how to function on their own. They can go through a breakup and they're just fine. They're not trying to rush into the next relationship or monkey branch. So was another BS talking point. Everybody wants a relationship. Everybody wants a man. Everybody wants marriage. Everybody wants a boyfriend. That's laughable. Indigenous Exotical says decentering men is different for everyone. Yeah, I believe it exists on a spectrum. And I think a lot of people, they're just not used to YouTubers with nuance. They're used to YouTubers kind of saying the same talking points over and over. And I try not to do that on my channel. I try to create a variety of content. I try to create thousands of videos just so I can hit every angle of my talking points. But yeah, they don't know what nuance is. They don't understand that two things can be true at the same time. There can be men out there who are normal and they're not abusive, but there can also be men who are trash. So why can't we acknowledge both? Why can't both of us be right? Why does it only have to be, all these YouTubers like Chrissy, for example, or Ashley Dalton, those are the only ones who are correct. Exoticals United is 100% wrong. No. Spider-Man says, why would you want to decenter the man when he is supposed to lead? Well, because centering your entire life and mental health and your existence around a man is actually codependency. So, I can throw that question right back at you. I'm assuming this is a man commenting this. The women who are more male-centered, the most male-centered women are the most clingy women. They're actually more likely to be addicted to male validation. They're actually more likely to be cheaters as well, because it's almost like they're just so vapid on the inside. They're so empty on the inside, looking for a man to fill their internalized voids. So it's actually good if you have a girlfriend or you're talking to somebody who does center her entire life and time and existence around you. Because I'm sure that you as a man have things going for yourself in life as well. If you're a secure, confident man who's not codependent, then you wouldn't want a woman who's codependent either. But this guy says, why would he not be the prize when he takes care of you and provides all of your needs? It just sounds toxic. So providing all of your needs, another human being can't actually provide all of my needs. So that's a moot point. Spider-Man 2095. That's impossible. Another human being cannot fulfill all of my emotional needs, because you don't know what my emotional voids are. You don't know what my traumas are. You're not the source of my self-esteem. You can't come in and heal me from my past mistakes or past trauma. So that doesn't even make sense. That's not a real thing. Oh, he provides all of your needs. No, men can provide money, they can provide shelter and stuff like that. But even when a man does provide, on this channel, I actually promote women still having their own savings accounts and investment accounts and stuff. I don't promote any form of codependency, whether you have a man that's a provider or you don't have anyone at all. You still should have your own money, because that way, if that man tries to upgrade on you, or you got too old, you hit the wall, whatever their little talking points are, once that man flips, you'll still have your own livelihood. That's a part of decentering men. It's also decentering him from your finances. So I think, again, people don't understand the definition of the word decenter. I think that sometimes it's kind of like how It's like you're seeing one content creator, or maybe you've heard somebody else use the phrase decentering men, and maybe their talking points are slightly different than mine. Actually, all of us have different talking points. I've never seen two creators that have the exact same talking points. So, yeah, it's kind of like you're arguing with something that I never said. Send Red Super Chat says, y'all be out here looking for love. Okie doke. Pick Misha's setting yourselves up for failure. Come on now. Yeah. Spider-Man, shut your mouth, you dusty. As if. We hate the patriarchy here, dummy. Go away. The male attention is excessive and sometimes overwhelming. Exactly. That's why we talk about decentering men. I don't want to monkey branch from relationship to relationship or chase after a man or spend hours calling in to random YouTube shows and putting my face and body out there. I mean, just imagine, like, think about this economy right now. Out of all the things that I could be thinking about, why would I be thinking about overconsumption? Oh, just go to Zara. Just consume more, just go shopping more, just buy more wigs, just buy higher quality, just buy a designer bag, and then that'll solve your problems. Not only is that centered, but that's financially irresponsible as well. You know, that's also another reason why a lot of people are still in poverty right now. Maybe if you stopped spending all your money on Zara dresses and actually had a savings account, then you wouldn't be so desperate for a white country club man in the first place. You wouldn't be so desperate chasing after Trump supporters at the golf club. So that's the whole purpose of me talking about decentering men. It's not about devaluing them or hating them or whatever. It's more so about having an internal locus of control. It's about having a sense of self. You know, you don't need a man to complete you. A man is supposed to be, if you are going to like talk to a guy or something, or if you are dating someone or whatever, it's supposed to be you guys are complementing each other's lives. You're kind of enhancing each other's lives. It's not, oh my God, I have no life without you. I center you. My entire life is centered around a man. No, that just doesn't make sense. Red Super Chat says, yep, pretty privilege exists. The hyper visibility is actually kind of exhausting, especially if you are a perfect 10. Yeah, and a lot of the women who are against decentering men, they don't understand what hyper visibility is because they've never had it. And I can tell because they don't have any stories to tell. They don't have, you know, they don't really talk about their own personal pretty privilege experiences. And if we're talking about the Black community, the Black female community, a majority of them are overweight, and we know that, you know, fat phobia is very real, and it's very disgusting how they treat overweight women. So, you know, you can't relate, ma'am. So yeah, you're actually the one that can't decentrate because you have to chase. You know, you have to be desperate, and you have to use all these tactics and download 10 dating apps at a time, and then go to every singles event in the city, and then, you know, you're joining all these country clubs on the side and spending thousands at Zara. Spider-Man says, who is getting catcalled at the gas station? Well, that's just an example that I used. Yeah, that's a real thing that exists. Catcalling exists. So again, two things can be true at the same time. There are some women who don't get catcalled, and then there are some instances where you still do. She addressed it, popped out with a whole ring. Have we touched on Klay and Megan Thee Stallion yet, specifically the internet reaction? Yeah, so I don't know what the whole internet reaction was. I saw people, I saw mostly men trying to diss Meg Thee Stallion, and that doesn't make sense. Like, being single is not a diss. So I don't understand. Like, her choosing to not be cheated on, that's not an insult. You know, if anything, that's her setting boundaries and walking away. Let the unambiguous women put them on a pedestal. Exactly. So I don't mind if they want to keep centering men. That's wonderful. I, you know, love that for them. That's fine. Because it just gives us even more social status, honestly. Because think about it. The woman who is decentered from men, that's the real woman. That's kind of the unattainable one, or the one who's like, you know how they talk about the one who got away, or the woman who's always on the pedestal. So not the girl next door, not the wife at home. I'm talking about the one he's always fantasizing about or whatever. That's the woman that has decentered men. She's the one who's constantly staying on the pedestal. It's the woman who puts herself first, the woman who's investing in herself. She still looks good in her 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s because she's not centering a man. She's centering herself, her own beauty, her own finances, her own visibility. So yeah, we can let the pick-me-shows put the guys on a pedestal. You, Dusty, leave us alone here. You don't belong here, you troglodyte. That's actually the second time today I've heard the word troglodyte. It's so random. Spider-Man says I'm not dusty or broke. Okay, well, excuse me, Mr. Billionaire. I don't know how men even like find this channel. It's so strange to me. Like, how and why are men even still supporting this channel? By the way, shout out to the men who actually do support my Patreon. Believe it or not, I actually do have men who support me on the members page monthly. They are supporting my Patreon. So shout out to those guys. But Pretty in Between says, I need a break from relationships. Shoot. Exactly. And that's a form of decentering men. The women who say, look, I'm taking a year, I'm going to be celibate, or I'm taking a 5-year break, or I'm taking a 10-year break. You know, I'm moving away. Okay, this guy's getting blocked. He said this channel is abusive. Okay, then why do you like abuse? Why are you commenting on a channel if you think it's abusive? She said, oh, hell no, I wasn't aware of the hexing. Wait, what? Someone tried to hex someone? Yes, depending on someone else, that can easily cause depression. Exactly. Depending on another human being to be your source of entertainment, happiness, fulfillment, passions. You know, he's supposed to help you to have mental health. He's supposed to drag you out of the depression. No, that's too male-centered. That's extremely male-centered, aka codependency. No, I don't want that. I have other things to look forward to in life other than just getting with some man. You know, men are human beings. I don't understand why some of these women are just bowing down and worshiping at the altar of these random white guys or these random Asian and Indian guys. It's like they're just human beings, just like everyone else. Like, what are you talking about, ma'am? And by the way, the majority of the men you're dating are not millionaires and billionaires. That's not how capitalism works. And that's definitely not how this economy currently is working. Pretty in Between says men can get very obsessed with us to the point where we need a break from them. Even in relationships, they have to be up under you all the time and you just need a little space. Exactly. Those women don't know what it's like to be chased by men for decades. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to have men fighting over you, or, you know, men fighting to get a piece of your time or fighting to get your attention. That's exhausting as fuck. They don't understand that because they've never had that. They've never had men vying for their attention, you know. So their strategy is, okay, I have to be male-centered. I have to think, what does he like? How can I morph myself into what he likes? Oh, he likes dark-skinned exotics. So let me put on a lace front so I can look like one. Oh, he likes Blasian women. Oh, he likes Blindian women, Black and Indian women. Oh, he likes women who look like Tatiana Ali and Bernice Burgos. So let me try to put on lace fronts so I can look like them. Exoticals can't relate. Life by L17 says, I saved over thousands of dollars living with men and not paying them rent. Exactly. You're decentering them from your finances. You're saying, if you want a place in my life, that's fine, but you have to pay my rent and I'm going to continue to save my money. And notice how a lot of the women who think decentering men is extreme, they tend to be the 50-50 women as well. I would love, actually, Dawn, if you're listening to this, I would love to hear your thoughts on 50-50. I would love to hear your thoughts, like, more in depth on what you think decentering men is. We can't make a person our whole world. We can lose that person one day. Exactly. It's like, what if that person passes away? Now what? You're just going to fall over and collapse? Like, was the wizard Liz someone who advocated for decentering men? So I don't know. I've heard of her, but I've never seen her content or anything. I don't know anything about her at all. They were talking about another lady named MJ Ray. I've never seen her content either. Send Red Super Chat says, exactly, preach, mother, I love you. Love you too. Depending on a man for all your needs is dangerous AF. My mom has been married to my dad for 20 years and told me never give a man the power to feed you. Life is too unpredictable to do that. Yeah, and also, I feel like a lot of the content was like, why can't I get a man? Or, you know, let me dress up and do all this stuff just so I can get a man. All that content is working off the premise that men are inherently trustworthy, which is also false. That's also just laughable to me. That's laughable. Oh, just put on a dress from Zara and all your problems will be solved with men. Oh, just take out the nose ring and just, get rid of your locks or grow your hair out and then that'll solve all your problems with men. I mean, that's laughable. Society and the divorce rate and the declining birth rate proves that that doesn't work. If all you had to do was call into a YouTube show and talk to somebody for 15 minutes to solve your problems, then divorce wouldn't even exist. Divorce would have been canceled by now. Out of all the decades, we've had Kevin Samuels, we have Ashley Dalton, we've had people before that. We had the Black women's empowerment space. We have the red pill, all these people who think they know it all. If their advice truly worked, then the divorce rates would not be what they are. The family units would have been restored by now. Everything would have been perfect by now, and it's not. People conflate codependency with love. They are not the same. Exactly. Because if you look up the definition of codependency, it's basically you like what someone does for you. Or like that person's actions determine your emotional state. So if you go on a lot of these YouTube shows, it's a woman calling in complaining about a man, it's codependency because she'll be like, oh, I'm upset now because this guy won't text me back. Okay, so you just admit that he's determining your emotional state. You are emotionally dysregulated because he did not text you, or, you're dysregulated because he doesn't like you or he cheated on you. And so why is being single never an option? That's what bothers me about those spaces. It's like, why is being single so bad? And the solution is always, oh, we'll just, wear a different dress or get a better wig or, just monkey branch on to the next guy. Just go chase after another guy. No, everybody doesn't want to do that. Everybody doesn't have to do that either. Some women have access to their own money. Some women are business owners. They have jobs, they have careers and stuff, so they don't need to do that. And also, let's remember, most men are bad at sex, okay? Most men don't even know where the clit is. Most men do not make a woman have an orgasm during sex either. So it's like, you're telling me that I have to enjoy sex the rest of my life. You're over here talking shit about women who are celibate. Bitch, you're celibate. The fuck are you talking about? Over here, oh, women who decenter men, they're just femcells and whatever. Bitch, you're a femcell in a relationship. Fuck are you talking about? You haven't been satisfied since 2005, and then you have the audacity to talk about women who are celibate. That's laughable to me. At least I'm celibate and single. Ma'am, you're celibate in your relationship. Like, what? Oh my God. It really is a privilege to be beautiful. I dumped my husband and don't have a doubt in my mind I can get another if I wanted. I've been engaged 3 times. Yeah, in my case, I'm divorced. And by the way, I'm not ashamed of that. I actually have been treated better. So you would think that being a divorce is the stamp, that's kind of like the scarlet letter, right? Shouldn't I be banned? That's one of the worst things you can be, right? Being divorced, being a baby mama, being an ex-worker. Aren't those supposed to be like the worst things you could be in society? Okay, well then why is it that I still get put on a pedestal to this day? Why is it that there are plenty of other women who are divorced or they're baby mamas or whatever, they were workers, and they still are living their lives and they're doing just fine and they're single by choice? And then also this argument that, oh, well, I'm heterosexual, I can't just not have sex. Okay, so you lack discipline. So that also ties back to the beluga mindset as well. It's not my fault you're addicted to the white stuff. You're addicted to the white stuff. You're addicted to cum. You're addicted to his sperm. You're addicted to sugar. You're addicted to flour. You're addicted to salt. Okay, so you're just an addict. You're an addicted ass bitch. You have no discipline. So that's why you're mad at women who actually have the discipline to not chase after dick. And like I said, most of them are bad at it. They don't know where to touch. They don't know where to go. They don't know what hole to go in. Rich and single is not a diss. Exactly. Being a rich auntie is not a diss. Klay dumped the trash. Now he can go back to Snow Bunny heaven. Get your dusty ass off my channel. What is this bullshit? Oh my god. This is hilarious. The trolls really come out at night. I don't know who that person was. What makes Meg trash? Yeah. Yeah, do you know what I mean about their hierarchy thinking? You know, if you're single, you're trash. If you don't have a man, you're trash. Oh, you can't keep a man. You can't keep a man. You don't have enough Zara dresses. I've never been in a relationship, to be honest, and that is only because most of these men think a relationship is about him. Like, bro, you are trying to get access to a beautiful woman, not the opposite. Exactly. And you know what I love about the exotical space? I love we have a variety of different women over here. We have women in relationships, women who are single, we've got women who are virgins, women who are not in a relationship, taking a break. You've got women like me who practice celibacy. I practice celibacy very frequently. I don't casually sleep with guys because I don't see a point in it. I don't have a desire for it. So, yeah. Hello, one of your subscribers said you have skin tone Tourette's. I almost fell out of my chair. I had to screenshot it. Skin tone Tourette's. That's funny. 50-50 the chores if you both have jobs of similar hours or stress and effort. As for the rent, I don't know about that, but damn sure you pay for our food out and buy me flowers once a week, etc. So I don't know if this is a woman or a man writing this, but this channel does not promote 50-50 relationships. So yeah, I feel like the only people that really talk about the 50-50 discourse tend to be men, or they tend to be poor people, you know, because you need a 50% discount on your bills, or sometimes desperate women do that as well because they're like, oh, I can't get a guy who's willing to invest in me or provide for me, so I have to pay 50% of the rent in order to keep him. So yeah, this channel doesn't promote that. So, you know, maybe you can check out like Chrissy's channel because she's got a lot of women on her channel that go 50-50 with white men. I love you, EU. Zara in Saudi Arabia is not that impressive. Exactly. And it's like most of these clothes still come from China, ma'am. It's like these clothes are still made in China. You're over here talking shit about Fashion Nova. You're talking shit about Shein. And Zara, their clothes, a lot of them are still made in the same third world countries. You know what? Let's look it up really quick. Hold on. Where are Zara clothes made in the factories? And if they are made in the US, I mean, that's part of why they're overpriced. Okay. Zara uses factories in China, Bangladesh, India, Vietnam, Pakistan, Cambodia, Brazil, and Argentina. Okay, so bitch, you got your fucking clothes from Cambodia. You're over here talking shit about Fashion Nova and Shein. You're wearing some leggings from Cambodia, bitch. Paying $75. Oh my god. You just paid $75 for some Cambodian leggings, and you're over here talking shit about Fashion Nova. Ma'am, you just got scammed, and you did all that so you could attract an unattractive, bootylicious white man with an untrimmed beard and bad breath and yellow teeth. You're doing all that so you chase after these Trump-supporting white men. These Trump-supporting YT men. And it's funny because they canceled Chili from TLC. She got canceled for being a Trump supporter. But then they love Nick. Nicolandria, they love Nick, who is also a Trump supporter. Damn, crazy. OMG, Carmela, I lived in Saudi. Yay, shout out to the Saudi Arabian exoticals. You should really look into a lot of ambiguous women's reaction to Klay cheating on Megan. He definitely should be drawn and quartered by social media, but putting curses on him is insane AF and too far. Yeah, and I saw that they were kind of coming against MLS people. They're coming against biracials because that one guy who like brought up the White House or whatever. This shit is gonna get demonetized. I'm saying so many banned words on this live stream. Oh my god. But no, like they were making fun of biracials. They're like, oh, what do these people have in common? And they all have a white mom or whatever. They showed like a bunch of serial unalivers, and then they showed the guy who like got arrested in front of the White House, who was like a biracial guy. And then, they're talking about Klay Thompson as well. And yeah. So I think they're also using it as a way to shade biracials. Meanwhile, the same people shading biracials are rushing to create biracials. You're literally rushing to marry and have babies with non-black men so you can create biracial children. So there's that. Sugar 008 says, it's always the dusty men spreading their dust. This is why I don't feel bad when women cheat on them. I'm not even mad at Jada Pinkett because men never receive the same hate when they cheat. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Will Smith, if I'm being honest. I'm not a fan at all. I was never really a fan of him. I always thought he was weird and narky. And is that a word? Narky? But yeah, I think him and Jada go together. They're made for each other. Indigenous Exotical says a lot of times these competing companies use the same factories, like Zara clothes will be made with the same sweatshops as the ones making Nike shoes. Exactly. Ma'am, you're still wearing clothes that were made in a sweatshop. So why are you putting it on a hierarchy? Oh, Zara is number one, and then like Fashion Nova is like the bottom of the bottom. And it's like you just spent almost $1,000 on your hair, nails, makeup. I just showed that video of their beauty maintenance. You're spending almost $1,000 to still get ghosted and to still be treated like shit. You're still being treated like caca. Many serial unalivers are dark-skinned black men. Ever heard of pew pew violence? And white men are MASS shooters. I cannot say this on this live stream. The Zara in Saudi is better quality than the ones in the US. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that if you go to other countries and go to the stores there, that they're like higher quality. Yeah, and that's fine. And it's like, ma'am, if an outfit truly solved all of your problems, then you would have a fucking perfect relationship. Why doesn't fucking Naomi Campbell and all these fashionistas, why don't they have perfect relationships then? So you're disproving your own point. I mean, come on, let's be logical here. Let's look at the evidence. Always look at the results of the person that you're taking advice from. This is why I say, even on my channel, I am not an advice channel. Not only do I not qualify as an advice channel, but I actually don't want the exoticals to be looking outside of themselves for a bunch of advice, like, always looking to somebody else to tell you what to do. I don't want my audience to do that. I trust my audience. I think you guys are very smart. I don't want you guys to be, just asking other people, oh, should I do this? Should I talk to this guy? What should I wear? Oh my God, I'm not confident in my outfit. Oh, do I look pretty? Am I pretty enough? Why isn't anyone talking to me? Oh, I only attract dusties. There was a Louisiana black man who annihilated his whole family, like 7 people. It's really about patriarchy and men feeling entitled to the fate of their families. And that's another thing, too. Decentering Men actually helps you to stay safe. So, in terms of the Ashley Janae situation, I wouldn't end up in that type of situation. And by the way, I do not think that it's her fault. Like, I will never victim blame and say, oh, she's the reason she got unalived. I don't think she deserved to be deleted or anything. But on the Exotical channel, I will never tell you guys to go on a trip with a man who has a ton of red flags and then he's married, he abandoned his wife and kids. I would never even promote you dating a deadbeat father. I would never promote that. A man who's still married on paper and abandoned his wife and children, I would never tell the Exoticals to get with that. So that relationship, that type of relationship wouldn't even exist. That don't even exist in my life. And also, I've never been on a trip with a man without my parents knowing and without my parents knowing the address of where we're staying. I literally film everything and send videos to my parents. This is where I'm staying. This is the guy. I've never traveled out of the country with a man who has not met my parents. I've never gone on a date with a man in another country without my parents knowing who he is. I mean, yeah, there's so much I could say about the whole Ashley Janae thing as well, and how decentering men actually helps protect you from DV. It helps protect you from stuff like that. Because imagine if she would have gone on a women's trip, going with one of those women's travel groups. Like in my city, they have Black women's travel groups, they have Hispanic women's travel groups. So you could go with a big group of women, like 20 women that you don't really know that well. Or you could just go with your friends, you can go with your sisters, you can go with family members, maybe your nephews, your cousins, I don't know, just other people that are closer to you that you already trust. So that's another benefit of decentering men. You're literally helping to prevent DV as well. UA people shouldn't talk about anyone. They forget their community is in such disarray. Yeah, exactly. And also, I'm very curious, especially to these relationship, these women who are kind of like these relationship experts and stuff. I'm curious about their relationships because they were obsessed with fucking Shiro's relationship. They were obsessed with who Shiro was with, talking crap, doxing her late husband. So they're obsessed with me. I'm an anonymous creator and people are claiming to have found my ex-husband and everything. I'm like, hey, you're obsessed with the women who are not even relationship creators. I am not a relationship content creator. Shira 7 is not a relationship content creator. The decentering men people, you're obsessed with their relationships, but then you're not asking yourself, okay, hey, wait a minute. What about Ashley Dalton, for example? What about women like Chrissy or all these other women who are promoting like divesting and swirling while simultaneously hating mixed women, hating biracial women, and then you want to create biracial women? Why is nobody trying to double check and vet their relationship status? It's because deep down inside, they don't actually put those women on a pedestal. The guy from Louisiana is a tether, a non-American. That's the number one reason that story is not viral anymore. Okay, I'm not really sure what that means. I think he's talking about the person that committed the deletion of their family. But yeah, I just think that decentering men, it also helps you prevent DV. It helps you so that you're not dealing with narcs, because another thing too is that mental health is not a big deal to a lot of men, because 75% of patients in the therapist's office are actually women, because women are more likely to get help for like depression and stuff like that. So a lot of men are actually walking around undiagnosed. So that's another benefit of decentering men. This goes much deeper than romantic relationships. This goes much deeper than what color is your boyfriend? What color should you date? This is about us prioritizing our safety. That's one of the main reasons that I talk about decentering men. This is literally something where it's a form of self-preservation. This is not about, oh, we just hate all men and they're just all evil. It's about us caring about our own futures, not wanting to be screwed over by some guy. And I see a lot of men talking about how once you get a divorce, you can lose 50% of your assets. Yeah, that's true for women as well. That could have been true for Meg Thee Stallion. She could have got married and lost 50% of her assets, but she didn't. So it goes both ways. This is not just only men have money to lose in a marriage. No, there are some women who actually have money as well. And a lot of the women who are the most obsessed with relationships and stuff, these tend to be poor or low status women. And when I say low status, I mean either they are low status in terms of their beauty, they feel like they're not as pretty. Some of them have low racial self-esteem, so they feel like their race or their ethnicity puts them at the bottom, or they're last to be chosen. That's why they talk about that. They always say, oh, we're last to be chosen, last to be married, etc. So they think that marriage is a competition and they're in last place. That's coming out of their own mouths. So that goes back to kind of that hierarchy thinking. Marriage is a competition. Well, who can get married first? Oh, well, I got picked. I married more this white girl, so I win. Do you hear how idiotic that sounds? Teethers is a Pakistani word for non-Black Americans who have not been here for generations. Oh, yeah, the FBA thing. Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, so when it comes to the whole FBA thing, so I'm not against celebrating African American culture. I'm very big on myself. I went to an HBCU. I literally have family members who participated in the civil rights movement. That's why it's laughable when people try to call me a fucking colorist, texturist, featurist, and anti-black. Bitch, my family fought for your rights in the United States. So what are you talking about? So I'm not against celebrating African American culture, but my question is, what makes someone a tether? So, for example, are biracial people tethers? You know, are white Americans tethers, or are you only calling black people tethers? Like, who's the tether? Are white Americans, do they count as tethers because they came in and like colonized and like technically this isn't their country? You know, who are we calling the tethers here? Is it just the African American descendants of slaves are the ones that are like the main Americans, and then everybody else is like a fake American? Like, who counts as a real American? What percentage of African American heritage must you have to be a true non-tether? You know, that's my question for that camp of people. So yeah, but it is getting late. Um, but let me know what you ladies think in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Oh, by the way, be sure to join the Patreon and be sure to join the members page. Um, wait, really quick. This person says only black immigrants. Okay. They don't say this about non-black. Yeah, so then that kind of doesn't make sense to me, but okay. But yeah, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you later. Stay pretty, ladies.